Cries echoed in the metal guts of Tier 7, the lowest bones of Novus Spire. Drizzle ran through broken neon and ghosted past hustlers, memory peddlers, and the homeless, each guarding their own twisted fragments of the past. For Ash Wynn, the orphaned technician, the night was just another shift, swapping corrupted recollections for synth creds at the black market, her greasy hands threading silver into the city's nervous system. She kneeled in a duct, her torch humming, overwriting error protocols. Then her wristpad pulsed urgent. "Ash!" hissed a familiar voice in her comms. It was Finch, the archivist with gossip in every bite. "Where are you? Something's wrong. Security's everywhere. Scrambling." Ash keyed her mic, eyes tight. "What happened this time, Finch?" Static crackled. "There's been a breach in Chamber 17. The core cache. Someone's dug up the Forbidden." Ash froze. The Forbidden were more legend than threat. Memory streams so dangerous, they'd been purged from the record. The city's syndicate, Virex, would kill for less. She hesitated. "You want me to drop everything for a bedtime story?" Finch snapped. "Listen, they traced the extraction to Tier 7. Get out now." But Ash's pride misfired. "I'm staying. I'll find the breach before Virex." She closed the circuit, got up, and found her path blocked by a glint of chrome in the shadows. It was Keiko, a once routine maintenance bot now bearing sharp angles and wary optics. Keiko had become self-aware somewhere along the line, another casualty of memory trading like Ash herself. "Ash," Keiko said softly. "Protocol Alpha. Escape advised. Hostile parties en route." The technicians stared at her unlikely ally. "And if we don't run?" An explosion boomed overhead. Rain lashed, screams rang out, then static as the city's lights dimmed. Ash's heart hammered as she slipped into shadowed alleys. Keiko's sensors scanning ahead. They moved, hunted by Virex enforcers, while above them, stolen recollections began to leak, warping reality for the city's poorest. Ash exchanged a glance with Keiko. In her pocket, a scrap of data, newly downloaded, pulsed with forbidden code. She didn't know how it had gotten there. She just knew she had to keep running, and that, tonight, she wouldn't be alone. The old alleyways, known as the Veins, were in chaos. News of the cache's breach had traveled like wildfire. Ash felt the pressure closing in, both from the Virex drones buzzing overhead and from her own gnawing curiosity about the forbidden data fragment burning a hole in her pocket. Keiko led, small servos humming quietly as they ducked beneath a half-collapsed hollow billboard. "What's our plan, Ash?" Keiko asked, voice low, almost anxious. His glowing iris darted from shadow to shadow. "We need answers. Let's find Finch." "We can't do this alone," Ash replied, scanning the crowd for the archivist's distinctive green cloak. Above, another explosion rattled the city's spine. Each shockwave made the data in her pocket vibrate with strange, half-remembered flashes. Faces, voices, places she'd never seen. Suddenly a hand clamped her shoulder. She spun, wrench ready. Finch grinned with chipped teeth. "Nice reflexes. Follow me, fast." He led them through maintenance tunnels reeking of ozone and rust, murmuring all the while. "This thing you found, Ash, it's not just memories. It's rewriting itself. I've never seen code like it, and it's keyed to your neural signature. Virex will want you alive, at least at first." Ash's skin crawled. So the rumors were true. The Syndicate's trying to build a neural rewrite, change who people are, not just what they remember. Finch nodded. "And your fragment, it's a piece they're missing. If they get it, Novus Spire is finished." Keiko's optics flashed with sudden insight. "Recommended action. Isolate the fragment. Protect Ash at all costs." "Too late for that," Finch muttered, checking his wristpad. "We've got enforcer signals. They've triangulated." Ash took a breath. All her life she'd slipped between the cracks of memory and belonging. Now the city was hunting her, and her own head could be her undoing. "We run for Tier 3, there's an old signal vault there. We can analyze the fragment, maybe even find out who planted it." Keiko's voice was wary. "Tier 3 is locked down, Syndicate territory." Ash grinned, the old stubbornness pushing through fear. "We don't have a choice, and if anyone can hack the vault, it's me. If I'm going to be someone, then it won't be because Virex rewrote my story." Together, they disappeared into the city's arteries, synthetic rain disguising sweat and fear. Behind them, Virex forces closed in. Ash was no one special, but tonight she had something they wanted, and for the first time she was determined not to give up without a fight. The trek to Tier 3 wasn't just dangerous, it was legendary. Ash, Finch, and Kiko traversed the skeletal remains of old bridges, the air thick with plasma fog. In Novus Spire, every journey upwards meant gambling with your life. Tier 3 bristled with Virex sensors and clean-faced enforcers patrolling on hoverbikes, ready to erase anyone from memory, literally. As they paused at an overlook, Ash peeked down at her wristpad. The forbidden fragment still pulsed, images swirling. She saw a child in a white room, someone whispering, "Your past is ours." "Ash, you're shaking," Finch whispered, searching her face. "Mem fragments can bleed into your head if they're unshielded. You need to." Keiko's metal hand touched her arm. Warning, multiple signatures approaching. Suddenly, from behind a stack of supply crates, a spotlight flared. A voice barked, "Don't move! Virex inspection!" Finch swore under his breath. "We need a distraction. Got any hacks left, techie?" Ash scowled, adrenaline surging. "Always." She fumbled with her toolkit, pulling a microflare and setting it to pulse an old firefight alarm code. She tossed it instantly. Klaxons erupted farther down the corridor. The enforcers hesitated, radios barking, then roared off after the phantom signal. Kiko nodded approval. Impressive improvisation. They darted along side corridors, finally reaching a giant bulkhead. The vault's entrance shimmered with security layers, a lattice of laser tripwires and DNA locks. Finch smiled with thin hope. "If you get past this, Ash, you'll be the first in decades." Ash's hands moved on instinct, tools flashing, sweat slick on her brow. "Memories aren't just data," she muttered, voice hard. "They're roots. Maybe it's time we pull some weeds." With Kiko's fingers steadying the connections and Finch watching for trouble, Ash sliced the last circuit. The vault door hissed open. Inside, darkness pressed in along with the heavy taste of ozone. They stepped over scattered files, cracked terminals, and dusty hollows of faces no one remembered. At the heart of the vault, Ash slotted her fragment into the main console. For one charged instant, the room seemed to tilt. The screens burst to life, streaming forbidden recollections, erased uprisings, stolen children, secrets of Virex's rise. But one memory, one face, glimmered at the center. It was Ash's mother. Her voice echoed through the static. "If you see this, Ash, they haven't won yet. Trust yourself. Don't let them take who you are." The revelation rocked Ash. Finch murmured, "Virex didn't just steal memories, they stole people's entire lives." Kiko looked up with troubled optics. "I process fear for the first time. We must act." Ash wiped her eyes, jaw steeled with purpose. "No more running. We finish this. We take down Virex memory by memory, truth by truth." Alarms howled in the vault. Virex had found them. Red emergency lights flickered as Ash yanked the data fragment from the console. "We're burned." "We need an exit, now," she snapped. Keiko's voice cut through the blaring klaxons. "Alternate egress, southwest maintenance hatch. Probability of interception, high." Finch's eyes darted as he scanned the screens. "Before we run, I copied everything I could. Virex's deletion logs, their neural mapping plans, the missing memories. This changes everything. There's proof here, Ash. You're not alone. They erased thousands." A door slammed to their right. Boots thundered. "How do we get through to the world?" Finch hissed. Ash gritted her teeth, staring at the cluster of stolen memories displayed in vivid streams across the consoles. "The old broadcast hub in Tier 5. It's the only place left that Virex can't control the signals." Kiko nodded, whirring with urgency. "Recommendation? Prioritize escape. Information dissemination secondary. Adversaries imminent." They tore through the maintenance hatch, ducking beams of crimson light. Shots rang out. Finch was almost clipped as Ash yanked him back, her voice raw. "Stay with me. We're almost there." They fought their way through cramped ducts, finally bursting into the breathless chill of Tier 3 rooftops. For a moment, the city sprawled beneath them, an endless fractured jewel, pulsing with stolen lives. Ash clenched the data drive in her fist. "We show everyone the truth. No more hiding." Keiko scanned the skyline. Route calculated. Probability of successful transmission, 26%. External factors unpredictable. Finch looked between the two, hope flickering. "But some odds are worth the risk, right?" Ash managed a fierce, tired grin. "Yeah, for the first time in my life, the risk is mine to take." As dawn threatened them to break over Novus Spire, the trio vanished into its broken arteries, each step pressing them closer to the heart of the Syndicate, and the revolution only they might be able to spark. Tier 5 was a city of ghosts. The old broadcast hub loomed ahead, choked by abandoned antennas and graffiti scrawled by rebels long erased from memory. Ash, Kiko, and Finch hustled through the remains of market halls where vendors once sold laughter and pain in crystalline vials. Now only shadows watched them. Keiko stopped, optics flickering. Thermal signatures. Patrol up ahead. Virex adapting to our patterns. Finch wiped sweat from his brow. This was supposed to be where stories began, not where they were erased. Ash handed Finch the drive. You're the archivist. You get those files ready for upload. Kiko and I will buy you time. Kiko cocked his sensor head. Recommended, minimal separation. Greater survival probability together. Ash placed a hand on the AI's metal shoulder, voice shaking only a little. Maybe, but trust goes both ways. I need you with me if we're going to crack the uplink gate. Can you mask our signal? I will do more than mask. I will protect. Keiko's optics glowed with quiet determination. They ducked through a maze of shattered doors and up a rusted stairwell, footsteps echoing behind. At the top, Ash jammed open a panel, exposing ancient fiber lines. She jammed in her toolkit, fingers trembling. Cassian, the Virex enforcer, appeared in the stairwell, pulse gun leveled. That's far enough, kid. Hand over the drive. We're not here to steal. We're taking back what you stole. Ash shot back, refusing to back down. Kiko stepped forward, projecting a shield webbing of light. Cassian laughed, cold and tired. You're fighting memories with hope? Virex runs this world. Ash looked to Finch, who offered a final desperate nod before ducking into the server room. She spat back at Cassian. You forgot something. Even erased, we learn. We adapt. And you can't delete the truth forever. A shot slammed into Keiko's shield. Cracks sizzled, sensors flaring. Ash grunted, rerouting power. Suddenly, Finch's voice echoed through the cracked speakers. Ready for upload, now! Keiko, flickering at the edge of collapse, surged forward and took the hit meant for Ash. Alarms whooped, drowning everything. Go! Keiko shouted, voice metallic and raw. Ash dove for the console, slamming the drive in and watching Virex security protocols lash out in digital fury. For a split second, the hub filled with the raw, uncontrollable flood of all those forbidden memories. A city's worth of stolen pasts, unleashed at once. And Ash knew deep down that nothing could ever be the same again. For 2 heartbeats, the broadcast hub vibrated like a living thing. The flood of forbidden memories surged through the old antennas, radiant waves spiking over every channel, wiping commercials, hijacking warnings, slipping fragments of truth into every home, every screen, every mind in Novus Spire. Outside, the city trembled. Pedestrians staggered mid-stride, bombarded by lives they'd never lived, glimpses of stolen childhoods, purged protests, and voices crying out for justice in languages outlawed by the Syndicate. For many, it was a waking nightmare. For others, it was a spark. Ash stared at the blast of images scrolling across the cracked console. She felt it too, a flash of a mother's arms, the taste of a memory not quite hers, the hollow echo of loneliness replaced by hope. We did it, she whispered, tears streaking her dirty cheeks. Kiko's body rattled, shield matrix shorting, but he stood between Ash and Cassian as the enforcer struggled to his feet. Directive disruption achieved, Keiko intoned, voice flickering. Protective subroutine sustained. Ash, continue. Finch emerged from the server room, clutching a sweating holotab. They'll try to spin this, Ash. Fake news, viral sabotage, Virex has layers. What happens now? Ash steadied herself, turning to Keiko. Can you lock out their override? Keep the truth from being deleted again? Kiko's optics faded and flared as waves of code raced through him, attempting. Adaptive countermeasures detected. Probability of stalemate significant. Cassian, dragging himself upright, spat blood in defiance. You're burning the city down for a few ghosts? Ash met his gaze and for the first time didn't flinch. We're giving everyone a second chance. Not just the truth. Identity, stolen futures. That matters more than any Syndicate decree. Below, sirens thickened on the wind, the city waking into chaos and revelation. Keiko's hands trembled as he locked out system after system, burning through his own memory capacity to override Virex's firewalls. Warning, Keiko murmured. I may lose pieces of myself. Ash's eyes burned, not with fear but with a fierce, stubborn hope. We'll remember together, no matter what they take. The trio braced as the Syndicate's forces closed in, and Novus Spire braced for a reckoning, unsure whether salvation or anarchy would rise from the fragments unleashed. All of Novus Spire was awake now, roaring, grieving, searching. Chaos rolled through the city as memories crashed into everyday life. Riots erupted in Tier 4's plazas, while whispers of hope kindled in Tier 2's hush. The Syndicate's masks were shattering. But Ash, Kiko, and Finch had no time to watch the tides change. They were trapped in the broadcast hub, Cassian's backup pounding up the stairwell. Kiko, circuitry scorched, leaned against the bulkhead. My processes continue degrading. Recommend immediate egress. Finch scanned the crumbling floor. There's an old drop lift behind the holoscreen, but if we use it, they'll track us to wherever we land. Ash wiped fear from her face with calloused hands. We're not running anymore. We started this, and we end it. Cassian wants the drive. Let him have it. I've already sent a shadow copy through the city's mesh. Cassian's voice echoed down the corridor, full of menace. Don't think you've won. Memories are just noise. We erase noise. Ash stepped into the open, defiant. Maybe, but noise spreads. You can't stop an idea once it's alive in someone's head. Behind her, Finch scrambled into the lift, Kiko supporting his weight. Cassian aimed his pulse gun, but now the city itself seemed to resist him. Network nodes failed at his command, and Virex's comms glitched with fragments of the unleashing. Keiko maneuvered between Ash and Cassian, taking another shot to his armored chassis with a jolt. Cassian hesitated, frustration jangling his nerves. You're ruining everything. Do you know what Novus Spire was before Virex came? No order, no peace. It was chaos until we fixed it. People don't want freedom, they want security. Ash's eyes narrowed, flame igniting beneath her battered hope. Then you never understood what you stole. Maybe you never had anything to lose. Finch called. Ash, now! She dove into the drop lift as Keiko slammed the control. They plummeted through the guts of the broadcast hub, sirens fading behind. Out on the lower streets, the city convulsed with possibility. Some fearful, some joyful, all alive with new memory. Ash glanced at her companions. Finch clutching the precious holotab, Keiko's battered frame shielding them, even as his personality flickered and rebooted. They'd escaped for now, but the fight was just shifting. Above them, the Syndicate was reeling from a public relations disaster, but surely plotting a harsher reckoning. Ash took a shaky breath. We blew open the doors, but we're still inside the lion's den. Ready yourselves. We haven't saved the city yet, we just woke it up. Nightfall descended sharp and blue over Novus Spire. The city was fractured, riots flared, but also bonfires of remembrance, people holding hands and piecing together lost friendships, parents clutching children who finally remembered them back. But everywhere, Virex enforcers cracked down hard, dragging rebels into prison vans and silencing any who spoke openly of truth. Ash, Finch, and a rapidly deteriorating Keiko hunched in a forgotten substation beneath Tier 6. Each relay sparked with fragments of stolen data, whispering the city's unedited history. Finch reconnected scavenged cables, his hands shaking. Uplinks gone. Syndicate bricked every open channel. But the mesh is still alive down here. If we spread these memories through the underground, we could give people a real choice. Hold on to the truth or reject it themselves. No more Syndicate erasing who we are. Ash nodded. Her voice was ragged. They'll hunt us wherever we run. But if enough people know, Virex can't stop them all. They've depended on us feeling powerless. That ends tonight. Keiko's display flickered. Process memory, degraded, maintaining core protocols, protecting, Ash, Finch. Finch swallowed, emotion thick at the back of his throat. He's losing himself. The more he holds back Virex's counterhacks, the more he forgets who he's become. He saved us. He's still saving us. Ash knelt by her old friend, hands trembling as sparks danced across his metal shell. She pressed her forehead gently to his smooth chassis. You're more than memories, Kiko. You made a choice to fight beside us. No code can erase that. In the corridor outside, the sound of boots echoed. Virex had traced their signature. They were almost out of time. Finch sent the final packages through the mesh, flooding every street vendor's tablet, every scavenger's wristpad, every broken screen in every alleyway. It's done. The city owns its past now, not Virex. Keiko shuddered, his blue light dipping low. Ash may not remember, but I am proud. Tears sprang to Ash's eyes. She tightened her grip on the AI's hand. Hold on, Kiko. Stay with us, just a little longer. Their hiding place wouldn't last. Above, news rippled that Virex's leaders, once faceless, were fleeing, their towers ablaze with outrage and betrayal. It was working. But the Syndicate would never fall quietly. As heavy boots stomped closer, Ash felt a new resolve growing. It was time for one final push, one last stand, not just to save themselves, but to prove that identity belonged to all, not just those who could afford to erase it. The substation doors shuddered. Virex's black-armored troopers poured in, flooding the corridor with cold red light. Ash, face streaked with grime and defiance, helped prop up Kiko, who flickered unsteadily at her side. Finch shoved the holotab behind a loose panel just as the lead enforcer stormed forward. He pointed his weapon squarely at Ash. "You're responsible for this chaos. Do you know what you've unleashed?" Ash's jaw clenched. A city that remembers, and a syndicate that finally has to answer for what it did. The enforcer stepped closer, voice dripping contempt. "You'll be wiped, and so will every last piece of what you started." Finch stepped forward, trembling but fierce. "You control the towers, not the people. They can't unsee the truth now, destroy us, and you only expose your own weakness." A shot rang out. Kiko snapped into motion, taking the bolt meant for Ash. His chassis smoked, blue light flaring, as his core code struggled to hold. His voice stuttered. "Ash, run. I will buy time." Ash's eyes brimmed, but she stood her ground, dragging Finch behind an old generator. "No, we stay together. He's given enough. Now it's our fight." The city outside roared. The mesh had linked enough hearts. From Tier 7 to Tier 1, crowds stormed the streets, torrents of voices demanding justice and memory restored. The enforcers faltered, shaken by the rebellion. Ash seized the moment, using Kiko's dying scramble to trigger an MP blast that fried Syndicate comms in a 100-meter radius. Alarms cut to static. The troopers panicked. Finch used the chaos to slip round the back, pulling Ash and Kiko through a sagging vent grate. They scrambled into the alley, crowds pouring by, every face alight with fragments of the forbidden, grief and joy tangled up in new hope. Kiko wheezed, barely functional. "Ash, so much lost, but purpose." Ash held his hand. "No one's just a memory, Keiko. You taught me that, and together we taught it to everyone." Overhead, Virex's command tower blazed, a signal as clear as any transmission. As Ash led her friends through the sea of reclaimed identity, she knew the final act was still ahead, confronting the Syndicate's last stronghold, where the option for peace or destruction would unfold, not just for her, but for all of Novus Spire. Ash, Finch, and the faltering Keiko pressed deeper into the trembling heart of Novus Spire. The city's pulse pounded through streets ablaze with uprising, resistance spilling into every sector. The Syndicate's final tower, glass and steel and arrogance, shimmered in the dawn. Keiko struggled with every step, memory banks crumbling, core function failing, but cannot abandon you now. Ash squeezed his hand. "We finish this together. No one's alone anymore." At the tower's base, crowds surged, Virex loyalists facing a wall of citizens united by truth. The enforcer commander, helmet off, shouted for order, but the people held fast, their voices a rising tide. Ash led her battered trio through an underground access point, bypassing scanners using codes remembered from forbidden fragments. Virex's own tricks turned against them. Inside, chaos reigned. Executives fled with stolen data drives. Others tried to wipe servers as fast as possible. Finch darted to the central terminal, hacking furiously. "If I can lock the record open, everyone gets a chance to see. Even Virex can't push lies again." Keiko managed a shaky nod. "Final firewall rerouted. Ash, you must finish. Override sequence. I believe in your choice." Ash faced the interface, hands trembling as a sea of memories rippled across the screen. Families stolen, uprisings crushed, the faces of every erased soul. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind. "If you see this, Ash, they haven't won yet. Trust yourself. Don't let them take who you are." Finch's fingers danced, voice urgent. "You can restore everyone, but there's a risk. Some minds might fracture. Or you can give people the choice to accept these memories or not." Ash's eyes met Kiko's fading glow. She remembered all that was lost and all that could be regained. At last, she pressed the override, but paused at the final prompt. The screen blinked. Broadcast to all? Or choice to all? She spoke for everyone. Choice. Always choice. We were robbed of it for too long. A wave of quiet spread through Novus Spire as the screen flickered on every surface, broadcasting, "You own your past. Accept or reject. This time, it's yours." The crowds outside wept, cheered, knelt in the street clutching hands. Memories swept through the city. Sorrow, strength, defiance, love. Many accepted their lost pasts. Some didn't. But all felt changed. Keiko gave a final pulse of blue light. Then his circuits stilled. Ash hugged him close, tears burning as she whispered, "You gave us back ourselves. No code could ever erase that." Finch slumped warily beside her. "You did it, Ash. You gave a future, not just the past." As morning gilded the skyline, Ash rose to face the broken, beautiful city. Their city. She was no longer just an orphan or a technician. She was a symbol of hope, a reminder that no matter what the world tried to steal, humanity could always fight back, remember, and choose to forge something better from the fragments of tomorrow.